What's going on, everybody? Y'all already know the vibes, man. Today I want to talk more about the stage 4 major, it being on LAN, how it affected some teams. I also want to talk about the most recent LAT change. Yes, there's been a lot of them, but they made another one. So the first thing that I wanted to touch on, guys, is I saw a lot of people kind of hyping this online to LAN debate, right? Not only fans, pro players, they had this strong opinion that it was going to be like night and day, right, in their performances. And you didn't really see much of a change. I mean, phase 1, Toronto Ultra got 3rd. Empire, I guess, was kind of a surprise, but they've been here before with that core 3. You know, this isn't the first time that they've gotten 2nd at a major. I don't necessarily think that was because of LAN. Optic got 4th. Subliners obviously kind of fell off from their recent performances, but they didn't have Asum, who I think is probably one of, if not their most important player on the team. And besides that, there wasn't really any surprise. Like, yeah, I guess you could say Seattle Surge, but at the end of the day, they beat London and Paris. Yeah, they had a very close series with Optic, but they had also beaten Optic in a Game 5 series earlier in the week or the week prior online. But it's just different. It's something that I wanted to talk about because a lot of people had this misconception of how it is. Now, back in the day when I was competing in AW, Black Ops 3 IW, there was a pretty big difference going from online to LAN, but that's because all of the teams, all of the players, there weren't really team houses. Okay, they were spread all across the United States. You know, just an example, my phase team, that phase team in AW, Clay, Zuma, Attach, and myself, we lived all across the United States. I think in like Salt Lake City, Utah. Zuma was in New Jersey. Attach was in California. Clay was in like Virginia. And you're not going to get good practice that way, right? But when you're spread out, and that's how a lot of the teams were. But when you fast forward to now, to present time, I mean, you have, I think it's like what, 8 of the 12 teams in the league are all located in Texas, like in Dallas, Texas. Like, I've been to some of these guys' apartment complexes, like multiple teams live in the same one or very close. So you have only a couple teams that aren't located in Texas. And also back then, something that was different was when we did these online series, right, for like league matches, it wasn't a server, a neutral host. It was, you do the vetoes, and then like one time when you match up, you get 3 hosts, or you get to choose if you want team A or B, and you get to choose the host. And so there would be a lot of excuse my French, but host fucking or whatever, because you know, you wanted to do whatever you could in your power to give your team the best advantage, you know. And so now with the servers last year and this year, I know that they've gotten progressively better from my understanding, from what I've heard, but they basically have these servers located across the United States to give every player in the lobby as fair of a connection as you possibly can, right? But so I don't know. I think people still look into that online LAN thing way too much. And I know this was only one major, one event. So the sample size is small. We've been away from LAN for a while now. But it should prove to you that it isn't actually a thing. It's just in the players' heads. It's the mentality of, you know, online, it's a drag. You might be just playing from your apartment, whatever the case may be. Having that mindset of, oh, I would have won that gunfight on LAN. That is where the issue stems from. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. But this does lead me into the next topic I want to talk about. And it's just what team changes will potentially happen, or team changes that have already happened. Because we know, guys, after the stage 5 major, I'm pretty sure it's right after the major, the rosters are locked. So whatever team you have going into champs is, or right after the major, is the team that you're going to be stuck with. You guys probably all saw LA Thieves made another roster change, a blockbuster change. I personally thought that they were just going to bring Draza in for TJ, and they did that, but they also benched Hugh and they signed John. Now, most of the new guys, you might not be familiar with John. He's been one of the best sub players of all time in Call of Duty history. He's got a Black Ops COD Champs win in Black Ops 3 with Envy. He's been very successful, very talented player. He had a year off, I believe it was. I think it was a year. Yeah, it was MW. And he's back. He was playing in the beginning of this year in Challengers all the way up until literally yesterday. And from what I heard that he had got offers earlier in the year. Now, I don't know if that is 100% true. That's just from sources that I know. And I'm excited. I am. I know, guys. LAT's had a lot of roster moves, man. People, maybe some agreed, some didn't. A lot of musical chairs going on, just trying every type of roster that you could possibly think of, and they haven't had success, damn near any success, at least up to their standards, right? This team is built. LA Thieves is an organization that, if you're not winning, it's a bust. They're not playing for top 4. It's just not. I've said this time and time again. I think that is one of the things that you have to respect out of Cap, Mud Dog, and the management is they're trying. Okay, they're not going the whole friendship league route that a lot of the fans seem to hate. They're trying to see what pieces work, and I think this was a good move. I do. John's been killing it in Challengers. I know he's had a lot of success. I mean, dude, the guy's won, and I think he's won an MVP. I think he got MVP of Black Ops 3 Champs, but he's been a top sub player in the game. He is a champion, and I think he's a breath of fresh air. But now, getting that out of the way and giving you kind of my take on LAT, we got to talk about something else, and that's what potential move some other of these teams can make going into champs. Some teams that maybe aren't doing too hot. And I'm not saying they're a bad team. They could be a very good team, but they're not capitalizing. Okay. They're not playing up to expectations. Let's get one thing out, though. One thing out in the air. I don't think Optic make a team change. I do not. I think they stick with this roster for the rest of the year. And if you're asking me in terms of winning, I don't think that's the right move. I do not. Overall, I think sticking together is the right thing for them. Because realistically, this team it's not a one-player issue. One player swap will not turn this team into a championship team. So with that being said, I think it would be absolutely crazy to do a move like that going into stage 5 before champs. I just don't see it happening. Now, I could definitely see it happening going forward into the next game. Who knows? I think they could get top 4, top 3. I just don't know if they have what it takes to beat out all of those other teams. I don't. Empire, FaZe, Toronto Ultra, NYSL, I think they're pretty much all a given on staying the same moving forward, going into stage 5 and then champs. I'd be very surprised to see any of those teams make any sort of roster change. But it gets interesting when you look at the Minnesota Rockers, the Florida Mutineers, the Seattle, well, I guess really only the teams that are in the top 8, because I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. The Seattle Surges, the LAGs, the Paris Legions, the Royal Ravens, they have no shot at making champs. Okay, so a team change to trying to be successful right now doesn't really mean much. Yeah, there's one more stage. You could potentially, secure a nice bag and I guess end the year on a high note in some aspect. But in my opinion, what they should be doing, one of the first times that I'll give props to LAG, is these teams that have no chance of making champs, they should be giving up and coming players some reps. Mental, who was on LAG Academy all year, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Gears of War pros of all time. Let him get some reps in. Okay, he has no pressure on him to do well. Let's just see what he can do. And I think that's what other teams should follow. They should see what some of these young guys, whether they're challenger players, if they have an academy team, whatever the case may be, let's see what they're made of, because it's a win-win. You might find a diamond in the rough. You might find the next simp. The odds are slim for that, but why not take the risk now? Okay, because you don't want to go into the next year not having any sort of idea, any sort of plan. That's why you see a lot of those teams in sports, when they are out of playoff contention, they give the young guns more reps, more PT to see their potential and how they can help mold them over the next couple of years. That's something that we for sure should see more of. Then you have LAT, who already made a change, so I think they're locked in at 6. So it leaves you with Minnesota and Florida. Now, both of these teams, I definitely think, need to have a change if they want to have an opportunity to really make a run in these final 2 tournaments. I saw somewhere that TJ was supposed to be on the Mutineers. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I didn't dive too deep into that. I just know that he was supposed to be on the team from his perspective. But I think Florida has to do something. Neptune looked great, dude. The kid is playing lights out. He had one of the highest KDs at this major. He's been playing lights out. All of stage 4. I think he's finally starting to get comfortable in Call of Duty now. Neptune is a guy who came from Halo. All right, so it takes a little time to rewire your brain, and I think he's done a fantastic job. He's looking like one of the best subs in the game as of late, but they need to pair another sub that complements him. So you look at the phases, right? You look at the Toronto Ultras, NYSL, we go down the list. They have one very aggressive in-your-face sub, one more methodical. Not saying he's slow, but it's just that yin and yang, okay? You have Simp and Abizi, you have Hydra and Asim, Empire, you have Shotzi and Vivid. Who else? Well, Optic is an example why, one of the reasons why I don't think they're doing as hot, because they have Envoy and Scump. Neither of them are aggressive sub in your face entry type players, which is going to hurt. So if I was them, I would try and get a slower paced, kill heavy sub, someone who can consistently get you a lot of kills. Also control the tempo of the game in a sense. I think Simp does that unbelievably for FaZe, but that's what they need. And I don't know if that is in a challengers player. Maybe there's a challenger sub that they've been eyeing. I personally think John would have been great on this Florida team, but I'm glad LAT got him, because John is a little bit of a slower sub, but he can rack up a lot of kills, really hold down lanes. And that's what they need. That's what they need. And then in terms of Minnesota, they're just kind of on the opposite side. They have Attach, who is that slower pace sub. They have Priesta. They have Standy, who Standy is the more aggressive one. Priesta's the flex second AR, and then they have Major Maniac, who's the main. And I just think this team as a whole is just too slow. Their pacing compared to other top teams seems like it's a level slower. And nothing against Major Maniac. I think he's a great player, but I think it showed that this move from accuracy to him seems kind of lateral to me. And they don't really have like a stud main AR. And you don't necessarily need one. Okay, I'm not saying you need one, because I feel like you live and you die by the subs in Cold War. But I just think the pacing is pretty off, especially between Attach and Standy. Something that I would do if they can't make a team change, okay, whether they think that they can get someone that is good enough, that this wouldn't be like a lateral move, a one-player swap. I would love to see Attach run that second AR. Attach, when you could put him in spots to just focus on kills, he doesn't have to be that entry man. Attach is one of the best. He's one of the best in the game. He can get you kills. Trust me. Obviously, a roster change would be ideal. I just don't know right now. Like, it doesn't stand out to me. But that's it for me, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed my takes. But I appreciate the love, man. We're getting back on the grind. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay hydrated. Sub to me on Twitch, sub to me on YouTube. Y'all already know the vibes, baby. Deuces.